Blood, handcuffs, and screams. This wasn't just another hip-hop and love show. It was a full-fledged war. Stevie J was arrested, Lil Scrappy was hospitalized, and the cameras were still rolling. You could ask yourself, what kind of betrayal makes a man snap so hard that he ends up in an ambulance while the other gets thrown in the back of a squad car still yelling Bambi's name like a curse? Wasn't a stage TV drama. Rather, it was ruthless, and the footage is being buried more quickly than Stevie's last unsuccessful comeback. You think you've seen drama before, but no, you haven't seen this because what just happened behind those studio doors is about to expose the ugliest truth reality TV has ever tried to hide. Don't blink, don't scroll, because by the end of this video, you'll be wondering who really planned this and why. Just when you thought the drama between two people was over. There were messages, explosive audio, and a backstage brawl so wild that one staff member compared it to watching Mike Tyson swing on Suge Knight in a broom closet. Backstage tension had been building for weeks, and Lil Scrappy, still emotionally damaged from the fallout with Bambi, showed up looking like he had something to prove. Lil Scrappy, Bambi, and Stevie J had reached their peak. Isn't just another reality TV meltdown, though. It's full-blown chaos with flashing lights, screaming fans, and a stretcher rolling out from backstage. It all happened at an exclusive, sold-out love and hip-hop reunion taping that wasn't supposed to reach the public. Let's just say that Stevie J didn't show up to play peacemaker. According to insiders, he entered the green room with a smirk on his face, a bottle in his hand, and no apologies in his mouth. Security was on edge from the moment these two eyes locked. They knew that something was coming, but nobody anticipated it to be this explosive. Just before the main taping began, Mama D was spotted pacing wildly and chatting with producers, allegedly warning them, "If you allow Bambi and Stevie to be in the same room with my baby, I swear to God I'm tearing this entire set." But what really happened? Who threw the first punch? Why did Steve J leave in handcuffs while Scrappy left in an ambulance? Let's go backstage in the holding area. Scrappy had just gotten agitated when Steve J strutted in with two unidentified industry friends who appeared more like hired muscle than actual guests. No one paid attention, and now we're left with broken glass, felony charges, and an intensive care unit report that reads, "Contusions, internal bleeding, possible concussion." At that point, Scrappy reportedly said, "You still talking after what you did, you whole clown, Stevie?" as he got up and threw his phone on the couch. "I hope nobody in here is still crying over Bambi's OnlyFans because she made more money than y'all in a weekend." The room fell silent. Production assistants froze, and security began to creep closer. But Stevie didn't stop. He allegedly leaned in and whispered something that no one will ever hear again. One of the producers screamed and yelled, "Cut the feed." However, it was too late by the time security arrived. Scrappy had blood on his lip and was gasping, holding his ribs like something cracked. But the wildest part wasn't even the end. He allegedly pulled a blade from his back pocket. Yes, you heard that right. A tiny silver switchblade. Security tackled him right away, and while he was still screaming and collapsing against a wall, side paramedics were called, Steve J was handcuffed on set, and Scrappy was loaded onto a stretcher in front of a yelling crowd that didn't realize was real. Word spread like wildfire, and by the time they got Scrappy to the emergency room, TMJZ was outside the hospital gates. One nurse remarked that they had never seen so many camera flashes in the parking lot, not even when Kanye's cousin came in for that foot thing. Meanwhile, Mama D was outside the police station, holding an unplanned press conference as if she were running for mayor. "I told them that Stevie J was poison. That man had been leaking drama since 2003, and now my it turns out that was more than just Bambi, clout, or even respect. It all stems from a dirty little secret that no one was supposed to know." According to several sources, Bambi and Stevie J have been secretly working together on a new reality spin-off without Scrappy. That's right, a whole new love in hip-hop. Project where Scrappy wasn't even invited. The working title is Bambi and the Bad Guy. Guess who was allegedly behind the pitch? Mona freaking Scott. Found out about the show just days before the reunion taping. He was upset, betrayed, and embarrassed, which is why he came in hot, which is why he confronted Steve, and that's why everything went haywire. However, the worst part is that Scrappy's hospitalization may have been caused by more than just the fight. According to a leaked ER report purportedly sent to a gossip blogger by a hospital insider, it reveals strange substances in his system. We're talking sedatives, high doses, and other things that shouldn't have been there unless someone slipped it to him. Fans are already wondering if Scrappy was drugged before the taping. One anonymous crew member claims, if it's true, isn't just a fight, it's a setup. Steave J isn't saying a word, and his team released a one-line statement in which he maintains his innocence and says he won't be commenting at this time. However, the damage has been done, and Backstage is being treated like a crime scene, with contracts on hold, lawyers circling, and producers trying to figure out how to spin without getting sued. Within hours of the news surfacing, Bambi took to Instagram Live to post a face beat filter while drinking white wine. She remarked, "All I'm going to say is that you only know half the story." She closed the live stream with a wink and the words, "Season premiere coming soon, you can't make this stuff up." And believe me, when the genuine tea drops do not act brand new, the comments are a mess. You set Scrappy up, lady, you dirty for this first Stevie ain't shut, but you are the devil. And guess who recently engaged a premier Hollywood attorney with connections to the Yes Kardashians? That's the same Steave J who famously remarked, "I don't do drama, so I'll never need a lawyer." Now he faces 2 felony charges and could face a civil lawsuit if Scrappy's legal team proceeds. Speaking of legal teams, Scrappy's attorneys recently sent a cease and desist letter to Mona Scott's production company, requesting that all unreleased video of the fight be turned over right away. Where does that leave love and hip-hop in ruins? But wait, we're just getting started. Next, we'll dissect the contracts and the alleged backdoor deals, fake friendships, and the real reason this beef exploded on reunion night. Just when you thought, this toxic train wreck couldn't get any messier, suddenly Backstage security footage mysteriously leaked. It shows a blur of chaos, shoving, and what appears to be Steave J lunging at someone before the camera cuts out. It's convenient that the footage goes black just as fists start flying, but we do know that security had to break through not 1, not 2, but 3 locked dressing room doors remove Lil Scrappy from Steave J, whose shirt was allegedly torn down the middle. This is where things get even more twisted. According to sources close to the production, by which we mean those nosy makeup artists who listen in on everything, Scrappy wasn't even supposed to be there. He was finished filming. However, as fate or drama would have it, Bambi was filming a confessional 2 rooms down with Steave J as a surprise guest star. That's right, Mona pulled another one of her dirty little producer tricks, bringing in Steave as a plot twist without telling Scrappy. And the moment he heard that man, he snapped. Reportedly broke through a prop wall, barged onto the scene, and said, "You guys are trying to make me look weak, so I'll prove it to you." At that point, the actual commotion began, with people yelling and producers running away saying, "Mona is nowhere to be found." We've witnessed fights and drinks being thrown, but nothing like this man wasn't fighting for the cameras. He was fighting like he'd been betrayed in real life. That wasn't reality TV, that was raw pain. The usual unnamed security guard, who we'll call Rico, told us off the record. But don't worry, Mona Scott Young wasn't going to let that go to waste. The cameras continued to roll, and rumor has it that the footage is currently locked in a vault being examined for legal implications. However, knowing Mona, it will be repackaged, remixed, and released in a mid-season trailer to boost the show's ratings. Meanwhile, Lil Scrappy, who had to be taken to the hospital after suffering from a dislocated shoulder and busted knuckles, had to be escorted there. Nurses believed he was overdosing. Steave J's team is already spinning it out, with one of his representatives going online and claiming that Steave was ambushed. He was the victim. He was trying to de-escalate. De-escalate? Because when does a man covered in another man's blood look like a peacemaker? Oh, the internet had a field day as a career. It turns out that it was simply the weight of betrayal that finally broke him down. Family, fame, and fake love all came crashing down at once. In the meantime, Bambi took to Instagram Live with her best friend in the background, whispering, "Don't say too much every 5 seconds." Scrappy snaps were trending on Twitter memes everywhere for 12 hours straight. One user shared a photoshopped image of Scrappy holding Bambi's baby with the caption, "I fought for this family." Others were much less forgiving, accusing Scrappy of being unstable, aggressive, and immature. But here's the real tea. Nobody's innocent in this circus. However, in between eyelash glue failures and phony tears, Sis couldn't help herself. "I tried to protect Scrappy, but you guys don't know the half of what he's done," she continued, slipping. Fans are now wondering if there is more to Bambi and Steavie's alliance than just friendship. Could it be that the two have been secretly plotting to remove Scrappy from the franchise? Perhaps it's a side deal with producers? Perhaps it's a so-called insider leak from the editing room that says Bambi and Steavie J were in Mona's office for more than an hour before shooting that day and papers were exchanged? Scrappy wasn't in the loop at all, and it looks like he walked right into a trap. The whole thing was set up like an episode of Survivor, Love and Hip Hop Edition, and let's talk about Mama D Woo. She went viral, going viral on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even MySpace, dragging Bambi, Steavie, Mona, and even Scrappy himself. I told everyone that they were snakes, and my son wasn't perfect, but he didn't deserve this. Completed the following day, she pulled up to the hospital with a boom mic and her own camera crew. We're not kidding when she says that she's making a documentary series that exposes the truth one fake friend at a time. The first episode of the show features the betrayal of Steavie J and Judy, and it's glorious in all the chaos. VH1 has gone completely silent with no statements or press releases, but you can be sure that executives are worried about lawsuits that could come up and fans threatening to boycott if this footage is ever shown. However, the streets are talking. Social media is ablaze with theories, analysis, and old-fashioned mess, and Reddit threads have timelines, clip breakdowns, and even slowed-down audio where fans want to see everything. A petition with 40,000 signatures recently went viral, demanding that the network release the unedited fight footage. People want to see They are reportedly in full panic mode, pulling editors off other shows just to sort through the footage and figure out how the hell to spin this without losing their jobs. Say that Bambi is saying, "Get him out of here now." The drama officially moved from backstage to the courtroom stage, and this isn't an episode of Law & Order, baby. Could that be the smoking gun? Stay tuned because part 3 is where things really explode. Court dates, leaked medical reports, surprise witnesses, and you haven't seen anything yet. And then, all of a sudden, the courtroom gates swung open with Steavie J recently released on bail, and Lil Scrappy still recovering from injuries and betrayal trauma. The trial began with cameras prohibited and tension higher than Mad's blood pressure. But don't worry, we have leaks. A legal assistant who should not be speaking to the blogs said that the opening arguments were explosive, portraying Scrappy as a man who was emotionally manipulated, cornered, and ambushed by production. For ratings, while Steavie J's lawyers tried the tried-and-true tactic of saying, "He's a family man, routine boy." They even had the gall to call Scrappy a mentor figure, which was gaslighting. I was informed by Mona's team that Steavie J was being brought in to shake things up, but I didn't know that day. If I had known, I would have said something, but things were already tense between us, sis. The man jumped through drywall like a WWE wrestler over your tension. Let's not pretend, but what happened next shocked everyone. Off the set of a scandalous music video and into a messy federal indictment. Any screenshots of Bambi and Mona purportedly talking about Scrappy's waning popularity and how the show required a shock moment. One line even went, "Let him pop off, it'll go viral," that were shared over direct message. "Whoa!" the courtroom gasped. The judge looked shook. Scrappy broke down crying. Meanwhile, Mama D was in the back row fanning herself with a rhinestone-covered Bible and whispering, "Didn't I tell y'all Judas all of them?" The judge then revealed that he was directing an urgent review of production, ethics translation. VH1 may be under fire for putting its actors in danger for the sake of television drama. But wait, it gets even worse. A nurse close to the family, a messy cousin with access, revealed that Scrappy had suffered psychological trauma, a mild concussion, and a dislocated shoulder. In addition, he was diagnosed with acute betrayal stress disorder. That may not be true, but it should be. And the best part is that someone created a Justice for Scrappy GoFundMe, which raised over $90,000 in 3 days. Where is that money? We don't know for sure, but there are rumors that Mama D is using it to hire a documentary team to expose the machine behind the madness. She claims to have already contacted Netflix, and with a wig and a purse full of receipts, she thinks she's Aaron Brockovich. On the other side, Steavie J went silent. He deleted all of his posts and unfollowed everyone. Some say he skipped town, while others say he's hiding out in a Miami hotel with Jolene for protection. That's a crossover we didn't ask for, but this is where the web of lies really begins to unravel. A former VH1 intern, whom we'll call Lola because that's what she put on her TikTok, The Truth About the Scrappy Setup and Baby, a 4-part documentary that Talk Handle published, had all of the text exchanges between producers regarding scheduling adjustments, including an audio clip of Mona purportedly saying, "I don't care if they fight, just keep the cameras rolling." When the internet went crazy, cancel love and hip-hop became popular, fans started to boycott VH1 and was being pulled like a cheap wig in a tornado. Then suddenly, VH1 released a statement saying that we take our cast's safety extremely seriously, and are now the streets of Atlanta are a hive of activity as Scrappy fans organize rallies and supporters of Stevie J spin wild theories about deep state setups. In the midst of all of this, Bambi posts a selfie with the caption, "Unbothered. Blessed booked sis." You might